evening, Plainfield. My name is Chanel McLeod, and I am so excited to be working in partnership with our amazing mayor here, Mayor Adrian Mapp, to launch a new series that we're hopeful will bring you all much understanding about Plainfield and also much action. This is Plainfield Speaks, and I am looking forward to introducing a group of amazing faith-based leaders here in Plainfield that are going to talk to us about some hot topics that I think we have. So I won't hold up the mic too much. I want to pass it on to the mayor and then have everyone just introduce themselves so that we can jump into having some good conversation.
Well, I am Mayor Adrian O, mayor of the great city of Plainfield, known as the Queen City, and I am delighted to be participating in this Plainfield Speaks, this inaugural show, which we are hoping that will gain a lot of traction and will speak to the issues, the needs, and to the great things that are happening in Plainfield in partnership with our faith leaders.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. And I neglected to mention we are taping from the mayor's living room. Thank you so much for having us in your home.
You're welcome.
I am Paul Dean, a senior pastor of Visions of God Family Worship Church, located in 350 Leland Avenue, and one of the great cities in the world. And so I'm very happy to be here to participate with the mayor. I work very close with him in different events, and it's just good to be here with his staff and to meet fellow participants. It's just wonderful.
I'm honored to be here this evening. Thank you so much for welcoming me. I'm Ty Lattimore Dance, and I'm from Rose of Sharon Community Church. I'm in a unique position because I'm not an ordained clergyman or clergywoman in the church. However, I am a lifelong resident of the amazing Queen City, and I'm also a lifelong resident of Rose of Sharon, where my aunt, Bishop M. Laverne Lattimore Ball, is the pastor.
My name is Clint Parker, and I'm the pastor of Calvary Baptist Church, affectionately known as Calvary Plainfield, the greatest church on this side of heaven. And I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to come and have a conversation about how we can work together in collaboration with the mayor and the city to make Plainfield truly the Queen City in reality.
So I had the opportunity to talk with you all before we started taping, and you all let me know that you're representing a couple of hundred members of Plainfield at your churches. So let's just jump right in with the question I think we all want to hear some answers to from the mayor. Starting with you, Pastor, what are the top two largest concerns you're hearing from the faith community?
The top two largest concerns, one is safety. We've had the incidents of gun violence and murders, and the congregation deeply concerned about the safety and well-being of the city. And then also opportunities for our youth, so that they're not engaged in the things that make the city an unsafe place, activities for them after school, whether it's entrepreneurial programs, continued education, athletics, technology, all kinds of things that we could maybe partner together to help make the city better. Yes. But those are the two top concerns jumped off the page.
Mayor, did you want to just react to that? I'm interested to hear what your thoughts are.
Certainly. The city of Plainfield is a safe city. But obviously, safety is always on the minds of people. And so I am proud to say that since taking office back in 2014 up until now, crime has been driven down by over 50-something+%. But even one crime is one crime too many. And so the safety of our residents is a very important concern of mine. And to that end, we are focused on putting more law enforcement officers on the streets. We are focused on community policing. And I can tell you that we have been working very hard on bringing new officers onto our police department. Our focus has been on hiring people from within Plainfield. Unfortunately, the list of applicants has been exhausted. And so in the interest of continuing to bring on new officers, I recently gave authorization to our new police director, Lisa Burgess, to go and hire from the county list. And so anyone who lives within Union County is now eligible to become a Plainfield police officer. And I'm happy to say that we have 12 individuals identified. They're going through the vetting process right now, and the goal is to have them in the academy come January. We're expecting a new list of Plainfield residents to come out, I believe, in the next couple of months or so. And so we will continue the effort to put new officers on our streets, and we will also continue to invest in technology so that we can have eyes looking out across the city, so that we can use technology to the best of our ability in order to enhance safety in our city, as well as the program we have known as Light Up the City. We want to put light in places where there's darkness, so that people have a greater sense of safety. And so those are some of the things that we're doing.
I think, Reverend, you had mentioned to me some safety concerns that you were having right outside of your church. Can you talk to us a little bit more about that and how some of the initiatives the mayor just mentioned may be able to help with that, or if you need more support?
Sure. We're located at the corner of Leland Avenue in North, and I own a daycare. It's called Visions Early Childhood. And so the church that I own, that whole piece of property, there's a daycare part of it. And there's many accidents at Leland and North. If you look at the record, you'll just see. No casualties as of yet, praise God. But many have been hurt. Cars have been totaled. And so we have come out there, we've assisted. So we're trying to see how we can slow the cars down. If we need to put a blinking light there, I don't know safety of that, but we already had a car run past Leland, this was last year, hit a car coming north, ran into the daycare. Now we have huge poles there to govern that, so thank God the car didn't go into. So because I'm the pastor of that corner, I got to make sure that corner, we got Maxon School right up the street, and so we're just trying to get the safety of that area, whether it's speed bumps, whether it's a blinking light, whatever it might be. So that was my question of what we can do about that, because that's a speeding area.
And I'm glad that that is a concern of yours, because when we talk about safety, we're not only talking about violence, the things that people normally think about, but traffic and pedestrian safety is extremely important. And I can tell you that currently our traffic division is conducting a study of about 16 intersections across the city. Wonderful. And that is one of them. And as you know, we have installed four-way stop signs at a number of intersections across the city. And those stop signs, we know, have resulted in less accidents. People feel a greater sense of safety as a result of speeders being forced to slow down. And so we're going to continue to look at these kinds of issues that are of concern so that we could make our streets safer for pedestrians and for other motorists that are using our streets. And so I give you the assurance that we are very much on top of that concern, and we are working to bring about more solutions to our traffic safety concerns.
I appreciate that. And I want to say something that the mayor said earlier about lighting. And I am also the East 2nd Street project manager. And at one point, the lighting was very dark on East 2nd Street between the corridors of Johnson and Leland. And we brought that issue to the mayor, and they brought lights. And it caused the people in that area to feel safe. It caused the cars to slow down because the lights, and it brightened up the area. So I want to thank you, Mayor Mapp, for doing that.
It's amazing what light can do.
It is. No one wants to be in the dark.
No. Ty, tell us a little bit about some of your thoughts on what Plainfield can be doing in order to make sure that your congregation is safe, or the congregation that you serve is safe.
I think that a lot of what the mayor has mentioned, a lot of the initiatives that he has spoken of in terms of increasing the number of police that are available, you know, the traffic stops and so on and so forth. I think that those initiatives sound like wonderful starts to ensure the safety of the congregation. It's scary when you think about, we hear violent acts even taking place within congregations, and you know, churches. A church should be the safest place ever. That's what you think. But things are happening even in churches. So I know that there have been instances in the past where police have made themselves available to churches to help with traffic flow and so on and so forth. But I think that the initiatives that the mayor has mentioned in terms of safety for the congregation sounds really good.
Churches are oftentimes the heart of the city. It's where everyone congregates throughout the week. It's where everyone goes. It's where people turn to. What are some ways that you see your congregation being able to be in partnership with the city of Plainfield in order to move the city of Plainfield forward?
Well, for us, and as you know, in our preliminary conversation,
Yes.
one of the things I did request was, as we have these conversations, the intentions are always good, and as we discussed, sometimes the urgent matters jump the line,
Yes.
and these matters in which we can be proactive sometimes fall by the wayside, unintentionally. We, given our commitment to the city, we are fortunate and blessed to have enough property where we could really assist with housing programs. We have a gymnasium, we have 10 classrooms, we have enough real estate to be a large parking lot where we had recently a community block party, almost 400 people came out.
Wow.
And so we're willing to partner with the city to let Calvary Plainfield be a place where we could launch some entrepreneurial programs, after-school education, recreational activities. And when we had our vacation Bible school about a month ago, we used one of our classrooms to put video games on the walls. We ran it through projection, and that room was jam-packed of young people just excited. And, we, of course, screen the games, of course. But these are ways we're more than willing. And if you don't mind, if I could double back, I definitely appreciate, we have a four-way stop sign right on Monroe and 4th. So there, traffic's and speeding is not that much of an issue. When the murder issues that hit us really hard was when someone got killed right on our front doorstep. And there was a shooting, unrelated to Plainfield. I think these were North Plainfield people coming through, but ran through our parking lot and, firearms ran out the other end. And so within a year, we had 2 incidents where the congregation was quite concerned.
Yes.
One thing I do appreciate about the Mayor Mapp is taking action and really working hard to make Plainfield better. And we see the differences. However, when these kind of things hit home, and we realize there's a 50% or greater than 50% drop in crime, but when we're that 50% that's impacted,
Right.
it's a little different, right? And so we're committed as partners to do whatever we need to do proactively to make it as easy as possible for us to be able to make our resources available to be able to make that Monroe and 4th area and surrounding area a much a great part of the community. So I just want you to know that. So that's but that was what we were thinking from the
Safety
the safety
perspective.
piece.
Yeah.
That shook our congregation.
Yes, absolutely.
And I appreciate that, Reverend Parker. And I want to let you know that it is our plan to not only put more police officers on the street across the entire city so as to create that sense of safety on every block, but we intend also to have what is known as rock the block, as well as
Love it. It sounds powerful, Mayor, I'm not gonna lie.
It does. I like it.
as well as we're going to take City Hall to the people. So it is our plan to have community meetings at different intersections across the city.
Good.
So we can do something like that at the corner of Monroe and 4th. And in terms of bringing City Hall to the people, this is going to be where we bring out our directors, meaning the police director, the fire director, the resources that we have in the city. We are not going to sit in City Hall and any longer wait for the people to come into City Hall to do business with us. We're going to take City Hall out to the people. And we want to partner with you and other religious institutions across the city because we know that that's where most of the people are on any given Sunday, any given week. And so we want to come out and have conversations with you and with your members, as well as the same with your Reverend Dean, as well as with Rosa Sharon, so that we can get firsthand what are those concerns and how we could better partner. We really want to tackle the issue of public safety because we are never, as safe as we want to be.
Right.
We know of the improvements that have been made, but we know there's still work that needs to be done. And that is why we're going to invest in public safety even more.
And if you don't mind, I would like to shout out Director Burgess. I needed to connect with her. I shot her a call and we met that week. She came over to the church. This was last week. And she was just incredible, very receptive, very responsive. And so I really appreciate Plainfield PD for that partnership and that responsiveness. So I just want to shout her out. She was amazing.
Yes, love this shout out.
Chanel, before you move forward, I just so appreciate this latest question, and I did just want to add to this discussion that I couldn't help but think of the often quoted scripture that faith without works is dead, right? Mm-hmm. But sometimes we don't necessarily know where to start the work. And so it's great when congregations are blessed with forward-thinking leadership, forward-thinking pastors that have wonderful ideas like some of the ones that Pastor Parker just shared about ways in which Calvary itself could be utilized. But also across this great city, we have other churches as well that have the space, the infrastructure to be able to support some of the things we'd like to see in the city. We know that if we just had millions upon millions to just dump and put buildings here and meet every need, we would. Unfortunately, money doesn't always fall from the sky. But to reach out to the pastors, to the leaders of these churches, some of the needs that I've heard addressed are, we talk often about having places for our youth to be able to gather, where we used to have a youth center and we used to have places for the youth to gather after school, so on and so forth. I think it's a wonderful opportunity for churches to give back to the community in that way. Churches also have, within Rose of Sharon, I know there's been a number of teachers, and I'm sure that's true within your congregations as well, and other just community leaders who would be happy to give of their time and of their talents to, bless the community in that way.
Yes, absolutely. I want to make sure that we touch on another topic, but before we do, you mentioned that you have 12 enlisted police officers now. How many do you need? And I'm wondering, with congregations of hundreds, how can the faith leaders that we have here today support you in your recruitment efforts if recruitment is necessary?
Well, that's a good question. We have about 125 or so active officers currently, and you're never at that level because some are out for whatever reasons, and we also lose 2, 3, 4 every year as a result of retirements. And so my goal is to get to 150 officers. It is extremely difficult. So we need to encourage more of our young people, male and female, to take the civil service test that would cause them to be added to the list, because we have to hire from the list. Now, in trying to hire 12 officers, it is incredible how many names we have to go through on the list to get 12. We may have to go through 60 names because for a number of reasons, people are disqualified. And so you can help us by encouraging members of your congregation to look at the opportunity to become a Plainfield police officer. It is a very rewarding career, and so I think that's one of the ways that you can help us, because my preference, and since I took office, our hires have been from within Plainfield. But we have gotten to that point where we no longer have any Plainfield residents on a list that we can go to. And that is the reason why I gave the directive to Police Director Burgess to look at the county list, because we have a great need for officers. And so that's where we were able to get those 12 new names from.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, absolutely.
Concerning the police officers. As one enters into the military, it's not just their service, but what the military gives is also education, a way through college. Is there any other opportunities as a police officer that Plainfield will offer in regarding that matter, where if a young person becomes a police officer, that might help them in their education or any other opportunity?
Great question.
We currently don't have any educational incentives for police officers. And that is an area that I would have to explore more to see how we can incentivize young people to become Plainfield police officers. That's a good question, and one that I will take a closer look at.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And I did want to ask, is it possible whenever these opportunities are available, if they can kind of be pushed out to the churches? I'll make sure I'll announce these from the
Most
pulpit.
definitely.
And, we'll definitely put boots on the ground and get that information out. Absolutely.
And we have a great tool to do that. We have 2 e-newsletters that go out every week. I don't know, Reverend Parker, if you are on that list, but if you're
I'll
not,
make sure I'm on.
you'll be on that list by the end of the
We'll take care of that
evening.
action.
And so
Very good, thank you.
we use those 2 newsletters as vehicles to get push information out, as well as our social media.
We can add that to our announcements, Sunday announcements,
That's
right?
correct.
Sure will.
And might I add, as well as Plainfield Speaks, this is what this is all about, is
Right.
getting the information out. But before we wrap up, I want to make sure we've touched on the youth, and I'm excited that we've touched on, some of our thoughts there. I want to talk about the seniors for a moment. How would you like the administration to work closely with you all in order to make sure that our seniors are getting the appropriate resources that they need in order to continue to thrive?
I think for us, we do have a large senior population, and, I think for starters, the best resource we could have is a really accurate, robust listing of services that seniors could possibly need.
Right.
So that at any given time, if any of our seniors have it, let's say a senior's ready to downsize and want to move out of their house and they're eligible for senior housing, how do we make sure that we can get them through the process, point them to the right people, and be able to support them in doing that? So just a list of resources, up to date, accurate, of who we can point them to address their needs.
And I like that, and I thank you for that. My mother is a senior, of course, and she's a part of the seniors in Plainfield. She's very active in Plainfield. And I must say that she's happy with the fellowship of the seniors in Plainfield. My question is, when do you start to begin to be a senior?
I was hoping you wouldn't ask that.
At what age are you qualified?
Eligible.
Mayor, I'm gonna let you take that hot question.
Well, a person is as young as he or she, feels.
Good answer.
But we want to make sure that we always provide resources for our seniors. And so a number of our seniors want to downsize, and we are building hundreds of apartment units across the city. We want to make sure that our seniors have access to these new apartments that are being built.
Yeah.
And so seniors the churches could always contact my office and provide us with what those needs are in terms of housing. And we will do our best to make sure that we connect our seniors with the best housing opportunity possible. We also know that many of our seniors complain, not only our seniors, but everyone across the city, about property taxes.
Yes.
And we know that property taxes, New Jersey is said to be the highest property tax state in the nation.
Yeah.
It's just the way the budget, the way the finances of the state, the way these things are structured. But just recently, on August the 19th, we had a workshop. The tax assessor and the tax collector conducted a workshop with our seniors. And there was one conducted earlier this evening at 5 p.m. And the purpose of these workshops with our seniors is to provide them with information, with the tools, so that they can take advantage of programs such as Senior Freeze,
yeah.
where if they qualify, and we will help them to get qualified, their taxes would be frozen in place. And so if you don't have this information, you don't know what to do. And so I directed 2 of our department leaders to conduct these workshops for our seniors, because I think that this information is very powerful, it would be very beneficial, and so we will do all that we can to make sure that we provide the resources to our seniors, because they've given so much, and we want to give back. We want to make sure they're taken care of. Not to mention the fact that we have our senior center where I go the first Monday of every month, and we provide a lot of resources at our senior center for our, older adults who have done so much for the city.
So I think what we heard overall in our conversation is the first one that sticks out to me is we're gonna rock the block, right? And we're all gonna be in partnership to make sure we do that. We're looking for more police officers in the city of Plainfield, and we're hoping that a partnership can exist here in order to funnel more police officers. And we're also going to be providing more tools and resources to seniors. As we wrap up, are there any final things that you like to say to the mayor? Any final things that you like to say to the city of Plainfield?
Well, I want to say, first of all, this is a great action, and I believe it's already taken right here. And I'll say it like John Maxwell. He said, people don't care how much you know because they know how much you care. And so when we display this action being here held at the mayor's house, it shows his hospitality. Yes. It shows his sincerity to the community. And I want to thank him for that, because I believe this is going to open up doors for people to come because he cares. And I'm grateful for that, and for the other leaders that came as well.
Yeah.
I would like to add, Calvary Plainfield, we're committed to the city. I appreciate your efforts. We've spoken multiple times, and I thank you for the work that you and your teams are doing. And just want you to know, from Calvary Plainfield standpoint, we're all in. We physically pray for our city. Our goal is to pray for all 50,000 people. We are walking, praying for each home. During our prayer meeting last night, we were praying for the city, where we specifically as a congregation are asking God's favor on the city. So I just want you to know we're with you, and everything that we can do to help make Plainfield much better, we're all in.
Yes, and as Pastor Dean said, this is a wonderful first step. And I hope that there will be more steps like this taken. I think this would be a great thing to do, whether it's quarterly, annually, or however often, where members of the faith-based community can come together and have these conversations. Now, I don't know if you can welcome us all back into your living room again. Maybe your backyard, or maybe even at some of the churches. I know the churches wouldn't mind opening their doors, but this is what it's about. It's about having the conversations. It's about giving out this rich information, because as I said earlier, it's sometimes not so much that people don't want to help. They just may not know how they can help or how they can be a resource. True. So when we come together this way and we speak of the needs, and a light goes off and says, oh, my church can do this. Oh, this person can do that. Oh, it just helps things to move forward. So thank you so much for your graciousness, Mayor.
You're welcome.
And if I could quickly add, I think what would also be helpful is the next time we get together, it would be great to have updates, because once we establish some wins, we could communicate this to our congregations and say, look at what's happening. Come on, let's now take it to that next level. And that's how we begin to build momentum as a community. And as people are hearing about the great things that are happening, it just kind of pulls everybody in together, and then that flywheel just continues to grow, develop, pick up speed, and we'll see some amazing things continue to happen.
Good.
this is why these conversations are so critically important, because I don't know everything. I don't have all of the answers. I need some of the answers from you and you and you. And it is that partnership that would allow us to do more for the community. And so I can't thank you enough for agreeing to be a part of this. But I can't end my remarks without asking you to do us a favor, do the city a favor.
Yes, sir.
2020 is around the corner,
Yes.
and there's Census 2020. And the resources that we get from the federal government, there's a direct correlation between how much we get and how many people live in our city. So we want you to help us to pull every human being who lives in this city, make sure that everyone is counted, so that we could get an accurate count of the people that live here, and so that we could access more resources from the state, county, and federal government. So help us with Census 2020.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
sir.
All right,
Absolutely.
and I think on that note, this is a good time to wrap up our amazing conversation. Plainfield, you heard it straight from the mayor's living room. We are excited to bring you through Plainfield Speaks more tools, more resources, more opportunity, and more action. Please join us next time for our next show, where we'll be talking specifically to youth leaders across the city of Plainfield in order to learn more about the mayor's vision and how we can be partnering with our youth. We'll see you soon. Have a good night.